Yo, it's your boy Mike K. Smith, also known as AK's, also known as Coolest Guy in Sports, back with another fire stream. We're talking some really hefty comments on Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Bronny James, and just overall, what the hell is Jeff Teague doing? And I say that because it just doesn't make sense to have Charleston White on as a guest on your podcast, especially when he's not an NBA player. He's not any he doesn't do anything related to basketball whatsoever. And I'm not saying that his podcast has to be only for, athletes in a sense, because it is like a hoop/lifestyle podcast that Jeff Teague does. But it really makes no sense based on some of the things that Charleston White said regarding Angel Reese, and even just a conversation that Jeff Teague has been having lately around the WNBA. The WNBA community hasn't really been feeling it. And it's not just this recent episode with Charleston White and his sexist, misogynist comments against Angel Reese. It's also the conversation around hypotheticals when it comes to Caitlin Clark and when it comes to Bronny James and when it just comes to Asia Wilson as well. The WNBA community hasn't really been feeling the 520 podcast or Jeff Teague, who in reality is saying that he wants to have a collab with a WNBA player someday, or possibly the WNBA with itself. And that's surely is out the question when we talk about what Jeff Teague has been kind of not spewing, but just like his lack of analysis on the WNBA. And when it comes to the WNBA, it's like if we can't talk about it with the respect that it deserves, or you can't talk about the players and the respect that they bring to the game, you really shouldn't be talking about the WNBA in general. And this one goes to show you about when I say about people having conversations about the WNBA, having conversation about basketball in general. You can always tell who really loves the game, regardless of gender or race, and who really doesn't. And these comments that have been made around the WNBA regarding Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson, and them not being able to compete against Bronny James in a hypothetical one-on-one matchup, that's one thing. And that's still kind of off the wall, I would say, because of the fact of the matter. It's just like, why are we doing hypothetical situations when we know the biology and the physics of a situation when it comes to that doesn't really need to be talked about or pushed, and it doesn't really help bring the WNBA game forward. It kind of doesn't put it in a positive light, because it doesn't take a rocket science to understand that the physical tools that a man has in comparison to a woman, when we're talking about one-on-one matchups, will make it hard for any woman to compete with a high caliber athlete when we talk about for his physical tools in a one-on-one matchup. But even saying like the whole one-on-one thing, it's just like that's always a really not a fair argument or fair assessment for those comparisons anyway, given to the fact that if you really want to come out and talk about overall game and overall skill set, one-on-one is not really the thing. And because of the physical tools and physical differences that a man and a woman has, you talk about doing a skill competition. Let's see who's the more skilled athlete between a woman and a man. And I guarantee you, because I've been around college women playing basketball and women in high school and women playing sports on the basketball side at a high level, it's a lot of women that are more skilled than men on the basketball court. So that's not a fair assessment. They always go to one-on-one and not skill set assessment. And also, like, if you want to make that argument and claim talking about like one-on-one, that's just, let's talk about 5-on-5, because having a 5-on-5 mixed matchup, you will see some women that have more game overall in a 5-on-5 matchup and be able to dominate in a more spaced out competition than just a one-on-one matchup. So it's always kind of does a woman disservice when you're talking about one-on-one due to the physical biology, physical differences, and just due to the lack of size and strength. But it doesn't give them like the credit they deserve for their skill set. So I don't want to see any arguments over this because high school will smoke all WNBA players. Imagine Cooper Flag versus Asia Wilson. And yeah, that's not Patrick. That's not what necessarily we're talking about. It's just more so like it's a conversation never should be had for it's one-on-one. That's the thing. When we have these discussions, we have these conversations, and it just shouldn't be had. That's my point about when we're talking about these things. For it's like one-on-one, it puts people in it does a disservice to women's sports. Let's go to, because we're gonna talk about the Angel Reese comments, and Jeff Teague is just putting himself in a big situation where like it's not really gonna do anything very well for him going forward for his interest in the possible collab with a WNBA player or the WNBA itself. But let's just go. I'm gonna go to. Let me share my screen. Share my screen.
Ain't no girl ever beat me one-on-one on my mama. Girl beat me one-on-one, bro. I swear to God, I'd never pick up a basketball.
I don't think no WNBA player could beat any NBA player though.
Hell no.
Asia Wilson can't beat nobody in NBA.
No,
that
might get spooky.
Not
bro.
one.
The top WNBA player is not beating the 12th man.
Not beating she's not beating a nigga in the G League.
So
She's not beating a nigga in college. Caitlin or Bronny, one-on-one. Caitlin would not score a point on Bronny, bro. Bro, he would beat her 20-0, bro. Bryce James would beat her 20-0. He can do everything better than her. She a girl, bro.
So that was off the segment when he's talking about Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson and things of that nature. That's what I'm saying. The one-on-one argument is a very, very flawed argument to make because the physical tools that you have to be able to go against for just a woman and a male, it doesn't really necessarily make sense. So I'm not really too upset about that, but I'm just like, that's not proper analyzing of the WNBA game. Why are we talking about hypotheticals where we know that it's just like, duh? If you can't talk about the WNBA and cover the WNBA game without coming up with hypotheticals, that means you don't really love the game of basketball. You're just really trying to pinpoint women and men against each other, WNBA and the NBA against each other. The whole conversation is really also disrespectful because then you start talking about like a G League player and then like Bronny James was some, scrub. It's kind of like putting him in a bad light. Like, oh, not even an NBA player, but he couldn't even beat Bronny James. It's like, all right, come on now. Like, okay, we know that, but it's just like Bronny James isn't like a scrub. And it's like the whole just the whole sentiment from that clip is kind of just making it seem like Bronny James is just like this bum where he wasn't like a covenant potential first round draft pick prior to his heart injury. And he's even dominating right now in the G League right now. And he's probably going to be a pro, a long time, like an 8 to 10 year pro in the NBA. He has a lot of potential. So even like that, it's just like we're having arguments and hypotheticals that is not really doing any good for the growing of the WNBA or the analysis portion of the WNBA, which is very annoying. I'm a huge CC fans here from Nigeria. Many of us watch the NBA just for her. I don't support the comments at AR, but she put herself in that position by her style of dressing. And let's talk about it. And this is a good segue, Patrick. And shout out to Nigeria in the chat. That's real. And make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed, Patrick. And Caitlin Clark has done a great, from a global aspect, has brought so many eyes to the game. That's why the WNBA potentially is trying to find an international game for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever to go participate because of all the eyes that she's brought globally and all the things that she has done for the game of basketball and getting people that weren't really fans before her entering the WNBA, but are now becoming fans because of her and they're watching her, but also get to watch other great women and great teams in the WNBA. As you can see, we got Patrick here from Nigeria. That just goes to show you Caitlin Clark's impact when we talk about globally. And the WNBA is at a prime position to really expand the sport to a positive level where I believe it's going to be the summer sport for the next 10 to 12 years. Like when we think about summer sports and we think of like that dry season when not a lot of sports are really on, the WNBA is now going to be in a prime market, in a prime position where everybody's going to be locked in and glued on their product, especially coming off this fire past season and going forward with not just having Caitlin Clark in the league, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, Asia Wilson, Enrique, like all those great Skylar Diggins, Sabrina Escu, Brianna Stewart, like having all those great players, but then the up and coming young players that are going to be part of Caitlin Clark's era in the Hannah Hudagu, the Fly J, the Malaysia Flowers. Then you have Olivia's coming as well. You got a lot of Paige Beckers, like you got a lot of great talent that's going to be a part of the Caitlin Clark era and the Caitlin Clark movement, which is going to push the WNBA forward. Now, Patrick says that I don't support the comments on AR, but she put herself in a position by her style or dressing. I would say culturally, people have different things for us, like how they expect a woman to dress. I don't know about the culture in Nigeria, but based on some people and friends that I have for Nigeria and things of that nature, people have different culture things compared to America, compared to India, compared to Africa, just depending on how a person grew up, maybe culturally or just even individually, depending on, what their family allowed them to wear or to participate in doing. So that's I'm not really here to argue that point of how you feel, Patrick, but I'm here to say that a woman can wear in America, our culture, a woman can wear whatever she wants to wear, whatever she feels comfortable in wearing. So I'm going to get to the clip, and we're going to react to the clip, and we're going to talk about it because the Charleston White's comments were very sexist and just very not needed. And hopefully I don't get flagged for some of the commentary, and I'm going to try to stop it when he says certain things, and I'll just basically I'll just say what he said, basically. Let's see. Let's share it. We in right now. So here we go. I think it's the first.
About it, regardless of that conversation, because I think it's stupid between the better player.
And he says, there we go. I think Angel Reese he's about to say, sell you know what. So I'm going to just skip over that part. Let's see. That's the first part.
I ain't.
Here we go.
She trying to look. Chuck.
She coming out too sexual.
No, I ain't gonna let you do that one.
You ain't.
She's trying to. I'm trying to have us at the WNBA All-Star.
Okay, I'm sorry.
See, and then this is what we're talking about. Like he says, the co-hosts they're trying to they want to get Club 520 podcast at the WNBA game All-Star, but you got Charleston White coming on here saying that he thinks Angel Reese wants to basically sell her body. That makes no sense. And then even the guy, he can't really articulate his point. I'm gonna let it keep playing.
No, that's your take.
Now, BA don't never defend the WNBA, so for him to do this, I love this. I think she's just trying to make sure she don't look like a dude. Like she's trying to keep it like she's trying to brand outside of basketball. Yeah, like I'm a woman. I like men.
Tapping into that whole side. Yeah. She.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like Jeff Teague is saying, I think she's trying to basically, the WNBA has this notion where the bulk of the league is part of the LGBT community. And we have a new crop of ladies entering the WNBA that aren't a part of that community. And that's how he could have said it, but it's just it doesn't come off the right way. And regardless of him even trying to articulate his point like I just did, that doesn't make sense considering the fact that has nothing to do with Angel Reese's brand and what she wears. Once again, she is a grown woman. She can wear whatever she feels comfortable with wearing. That does not give a right for a man to say that she wants to sell her body or she's doing things to draw attention from other men because other men think that she's wearing clothing that essentially they're attracted to, but they're upset because they're not the man that she wants. That's a lot of that's a lot of like all this nonsense and all this misogyny and sexism. Like that's what it's basically stemming from. Like she ain't giving none of those guys a time of the day. They're mad because she's wearing whatever the things that she's wearing, and they're really upset about it, and they're making content off of it. So let's keep it going.
Chapping into that whole side of it.
No, she not.
Yeah.
It's so many. It's a WNBA player look like me and you. So she's trying to make it seem like
more girly.
Yeah, she's trying to make it more like you can still be attracted to.
You ain't got to be left-handed to play the W. Basically, what she's saying.
It's a Charleston White and the BN on the FIFA right there.
Woo,
She's trying to switch the narrative, bro.
I'll take that, dude.
And they dress like this.
I'll take that. But I still think she need to do OnlyFans, like Shaq said. She need to dunk in her panties. Shaq told her that. Shaq told her she needed to go dunk in her panties. I'm with
Shaq
Shaq.
didn't say that. He was out of
Shaq
pocket.
is wild
He
for saying
didn't say
that.
y'all stop.
And this is also a problem, also an issue because Charleston White is spewing a sentiment that Shaquille O'Neal stated. So, and came on Angel Reese's podcast. So this is also a problem and an issue that needs to be addressed and needs to be talked about. Charleston White being on Club 520 podcast makes no sense due to the fact that it's a basketball podcast and a culture podcast. He doesn't really align with any of those things when we think about guests you want to have on your platform. So Jeff Teague having him on the platform really doesn't make any sense. And the guy's they're laughing about it, not really articulating their point when he's coming out and saying crazy shit about Angel Reese based on saying she wants to sell her body. She's dressing like this. She needs to start her OnlyFans. And then Charleston White comes out and says that, oh, well, Shaquille O'Neal said that they need to dress in blase, which is also a problem for the WNBA and also a problem when Shaq made those comments, which was wild and out of pocket. But Shaquille O'Neal coming out and making those statements allows other people to come on and say those things as well, especially when Angel Reese is a part of Reebok. Shaq is the president of Reebok, and also the WNBA just did a collaboration with the same person that was coming out saying out-of-pocket things as well about women playing in body shorts and dunking the basketball. That's not a good look for the WNBA either. And I can show you, let me go to a clip. Here's the clip. Here's a clip.
Shirt you had on at the Wild and Out show, Duncan. You know how many t-shirts you gonna sell, cuz? You tripping.
Oh my
What?
God.
What?
Oh God.
The same little shirt you had on.
Okay, all right, all right,
Duncan,
all right.
bro.
So that's what we and that's an issue. Because now you got Charleston White who is coming out and spewing some of the same things that Shaquille O'Neal said. And it makes it even worse that like Reebok just partnered with the WNBA. Reebok just partnered with the president of Reebok for footwear. That doesn't put the WNBA in a great light. So let's continue with what.
I'm with you, Shaq. I'm with you. Some lace panties.
It's wild.
No boy shorts.
It's wild.
I'm with you, Shaq. Johnson said another boy short? No, dunk in some panties with no bra. That's what them numbers do. That's how you sell tickets.
Nah, we don't need that. That's why we got Caitlin. Caitlin keeping it cool.
Yeah, Caitlin keeping
You know
it cool.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's girls that look like Caitlin that are straight. She's trying to say, hey, I have a man. You know what I mean?
And even the whole like straight narrative that they keep mentioning with Angel Reese is trying to do for us, like have a brand outside of basketball. She has a podcast. She actually has a podcast that centers around everything. something that I guess that's why they included Charleston White on here, because they wanted somebody to come and talk about things outside of basketball. Angel Reese actually has a platform that goes beyond just basketball. So she's also has endorsement deals with a lot of companies outside of just Reebok, outside of the money that she's making for the WNBA. And they keep talking about like merchandise and growth and tickets and things of that nature. Well, we know Caitlin Clark, we talked about her earlier stream. We got somebody in Nigeria right now talking about Caitlin Clark's impact and him watching the game from Nigeria due to Caitlin Clark. When we talk about merchandise sales, it was Caitlin Clark was number one and Angel Reese was number two as well. So I think they're doing pretty well when we talk about merchandise sales, when we talk about people buying things and people being locked in on the WNBA product this past season. And Angel Reese has done that without the things that Shaquille O'Neal is suggesting and also Charleston White is suggesting. And it goes back to what I said earlier in the stream. If you can't talk about the WNBA without sexist remarks, if you can't highlight the great things that are going on with the WNBA, if you can't analyze and talk about the game of basketball and the product on the basketball court, then you shouldn't be talking about the WNBA. You shouldn't be saying you want to collab with the WNBA because obviously you don't respect the WNBA. White's remarks highlight the persistent challenges that women and female athletes just face and the stereotypes and the sexisms that they have to go through. And it just goes to show you, it reminds you that the sport still needs that respect and equality from everybody. And it's unfortunate because we should be talking about how the WNBA is the fastest growing sport in 2024. We should be talking about the greatness of Angel Reese and everything that she's brought to the game of basketball and brought more eyes and women eyes to the game as well, and a whole different market of women and female participants that wasn't really watching the WNBA until she got into the WNBA, and even men as well. So she has a market, she has an impact just as much as Caitlin Clark has a market and has an impact. So these voices like White's, it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. So let's get into it. Let's
push that narrative.
Yeah, y'all call it. That's
Angel Reese is trying to push some sex appeal to the WNBA. Like we
they
ain't
still
all
sucking
dressing like
pussy
niggas.
when they're on the road. Yeah, most of them hoes sucking pussy on the road.
What, but that's
So there goes my flag. Probably I didn't see that part. But yeah, this is just bad. It's just bad. I'm already probably gonna get flagged.
Nigga, they putting pressure on the ones that ain't.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That is true.
That's a fact.
Unspoken about things.
They probably suck pussy to your heart.
Okay, so he's going off. He's wild.
Oh, his camera's on fire.
It's a lot of jellyfish in the WNBA.
Excuse me? Jellyfish. What else happened this year, man? Do not let this shout out to the WNBA, man. All-Star game coming soon. We trying to tap in. We need it back. It's in nap, too. You got to pull back up the W All-Star game, man.
You can go sit down and talk to him about
it. Man, I ain't finna watch no hoes play no basketball.
Come on, man. Oh, we got to go.
This is terrible.
Hoes play no basketball.
This
ain't got nothing to do with the podcast. They can't dunk. Yeah, can't none of them dunk from the
They
field,
are dunking now, though. It's a couple of them. You got to watch it, bro. You got to tap in. Like, you know, Juju Watkins.
Man, we need an OnlyFans WNBA.
So he's wild. And this is what Charleston White does. He goes off and he starts like spewing just craziness, regardless if some people that were in the comments that want to agree with some of the sexism and the statements that he's making. This is not the platform for you to do that. And it's unfortunate. It's just kind of like it's no platform is a platform for you to do it, to be honest. But it's just like it's unfortunate that the co-hosts keep mentioning that we want to collab. We're trying to go to the WNBA All-Star game. We want to do this. We want to do. You're out your damn mind if you think that's going to happen. And you're having somebody come on here and do the total opposite of what y'all saying. Y'all want to be able to talk about the WNBA, come and support the WNBA. You have somebody on here doing the total opposite of what you guys saying that you want. The WNBA and the league is a league not ready for the big stage because they criticize those for theirs as they do with men. Words like misogynist, sexist will come along if they criticize a black player. This year, the commissioner should address the issue of black players in the league playing the victim cards and incompetent, because here the African people don't even like those players in the league. I mean, like, I'm not. It's not for me to say based on how you feel, Patrick. But the issue is just like, I do agree that it's going to be some growing pains for the WNBA, for it's like them getting to a marketplace and a value that they're going to eventually reach, due to the fact that what comes with popularity comes more scrutiny, comes more eyeballs, comes more hate, comes more conversations, and you can't always give light to those conversations on the way up. And I think that's something the WNBA is going to have to figure out, in particularly due to social media. When they made a social media post about things about those trolls within Caitlin Clark's fan base, and there was no other social media posts about some of the things in the past that women have gone through and faced in the WNBA. It was no post from the league about that, but it was a post about some of the things where the face of the leagues, people that are fake fans, spewing hatred out of their support for Caitlin Clark, which are not real fans at all. And Caitlin Clark has came out and stated that numerous of times. It was a post about that. So I think it is going to be some growing pains and issues that the WNBA is going to have to get better at not kind of ignoring. But what happens is, when you're a young league and when you're having a league grow and when you're having young players that are involved in the league and you have players that aren't used to this limelight or the amount of attention that comes with being a professional athlete in comparison to the level of scrutiny and crazy remarks and comments that NFL, NBA players and Major League Soccer players and European soccer players get 24/7, it's going to be some adjustment period for sure.
Yeah, then I tune in, but I ain't gonna watch them long leg women run up and down the court with the knees. Yeah, man, with them knees.
So yeah, and then it just goes to show you that how, like, the whole narrative about women needed to dunk again. And I'm gonna switch back to Shaquille O'Neal when he was talking about this.
The fans have to do the same thing they do for the NBA.
Right.
You got to show support. You got to show up. You got to buy. It ain't about being turned on. It's about seeing stuff that you're not supposed to see. Girl dunking on the rim. I'm watching that all the time. I like how y'all are starting to get into fashion. Bro, a pretty girl dunking on the rim. I'm watching that all the time. You laughing.
My man is not turned on by no woman that's dunking.
It ain't about being turned on. It's about seeing stuff that you're not supposed to see.
Oh my God. What you mean not supposed to see? There's women that can dunk though.
Seeing stuff that you're not supposed to see, meaning that a women dunking on the ball regularly. I'm gonna be honest. The whole dunking argument for the WNBA, I don't really necessarily agree with, because they're not dunking in the NBA. The NBA is a league right now that's where it's threes and layups and everybody's playing math on the basketball court. So yes, it brings more excitement when players are dunking and things of that nature, but they're not dunking how they used to dunk in the NBA. And the numbers are what they are for the ratings. So if you look at the WNBA, which is a game played off a skill set, and a game is played off of running sets and kind of the beautiful art form of basketball, and teams have different styles and players have different styles, and not everybody's one-dimensional and not every team is one-dimensional. The product on the WNBA side is kind of what you want to see on the NBA side. And this is without dunks. So I don't really necessarily agree with the whole lower the rim argument that Shaquille O'Neal and some also former other athletes feel that they should do to provide more dunking for the WNBA. I don't think it's going to make a difference. Similar to what Angel Reese said, I don't think it's going to necessarily improve the ratings at all, to be honest. I don't really think it's going to make that much of a difference.
Why do you think people love Caitlin Clark besides her skills?
She can shoot threes from logo.
We never seen that before. That's my point. Steph Curry, a little kid. Like Steph Curry, I love, you know why I love Steph Curry? Because I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before. I've seen it a little bit in Mahmoud Abdul-Roh, but I've never seen a guy consistently come down. And if you look at,
and the thing about this is, it's like Angel Reese stated earlier, it's women that can dunk in the WNBA and have dunked in the WNBA. And it's a cool moment. It's like, oh, Brittany Griner was dunking almost every game at one point in her prime. Lisa Leslie, Candace Parker can dunk, though, but it's just like, it's not a thing where it's just like, oh my God, it's like a cool moment. This will be on the top 10 highlight list on SportsCenter, but it's not going to change the fact and bring more eyes to the game if women are dunking. I don't personally believe so. But that's all. I just wanted to talk a little bit about these crazy statements and things that are going on for us, a WNBA game, and Jeff Teague and the crew kind of wilding. Not kind of, they definitely wilding. And I appreciate y'all for getting in the chat. Appreciate everybody. It's your boy, Ma K. Smith. Make sure you go like, comment, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast, or it's not a podcast. We're like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube so we can run it up. I'm almost at 1,000 subs. Really trying to get there before the new year. Anything's possible. 3 days, who knows? But also follow me on AKIS NBA, where I'm talking on all the social media platforms. Where I talk to NBA, I talk to WNBA. And basketball is basketball in my eyes, as you already know. Always remember, faith without works is dead. And hope y'all have a blessed day.